Welcome to the Some Laugh podcast.
It could be like, oh, that was some laugh, or there was just some laughs.
Some laughs.
Well, no promising all laugh.
No, there's going to be some.
It's some laugh. I was expecting you to turn up wearing gym clothes, which is why I thought it would be a good segue into.
No, that would be beyond the pale. Sitting here in a fucking Argentina top.
Headband on.
Is that what you wear to the gym, a Fitbit top?
Yeah, Spain top today actually. Yeah.
Aye.
Yeah.
I guess the right material to a Fitbit
You
top.
ever get jogger's nip?
At the gym.
What?
How heavy are you lifting weights if you're getting like?
No, I mean you can do cardio at the gym.
Sure, we stop at cardio.
Yeah.
A wee bit of treadmill action.
I've never had any runner's nipple. It's one of those things that if I've never had it, I don't really believe it. It's like, yeah.
Like
Always-
COVID.
I get it.
Fucking hoax, man.
Do you know what I've discovered? If I shave my nipples, then I get it so much worse.
Right.
So that's just like a wee...
It's like an opposite of a life hack. If you want to make your nips worse, shave
So,
them.
do you think that nipple hair sort of acts the same way that like your eyebrows do to stop
Protect
the
you.
sweat.
sweat?
I think so, eh?
Aye.
Yeah.
That blew my mind off in it. That's what eyebrows were for.
Is it?
Aye.
No, it's for dust.
What? For dust?
Or is that eyelashes? Isn't it?
Probably.
Oh, yeah,
maybe eyelashes. Aye.
I was just picturing you like doing your house up and like, thank God I've got these eyebrows.
How much dust have humans encountered to evolve something just to get rid of them?
Protect their eyes from, dust. Like fucking
Maybe
people.
if you're on a sand dune.
Aye, in the sand. That's what...
In-
Don't dox me, fuck's sake. Cut
in
that bit.
the central belt.
So, because you've been using a PT, Stuart, I've actually been thinking about maybe getting one, but I think in my mind, right, I grudge, because you technically could date yourself, probably, but obviously I think the psychological thing of having somebody who holds you accountable and stuff is really, for me, the most appealing thing about a PT. But I just sort of, because see last week, right, you were saying, right, I'm going to PT before we record, and I was like, he's wasting his money for that for, like, you just do it, and then I was like, well, the difference is Stuart actually went to the gym that day and I never. I was like, well,
And I
actually,
wouldn't have had I been left to my own devices.
well, that's it. So is that what you find is the most?
Yeah, basically, because I'm the same. I mean, everyone's the same, and it's natural.
Aye.
It's easier to fucking sit in your arse than not. But if there's somebody there, and I'm quite tight with money, so I hate wasting money.
Yeah.
Whereas like Ollie, our friend, he goes as well. He goes to my PT. He misses fucking every session, but because
Does
money
he?
isn't as much of an issue for him as it is for me,
still
he's
gets
happy to
charged.
just fucking sleep through the alarm, and he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Whereas to me, I've got to make it count, man.
Absolutely. That's so interesting. Like if it doesn't matter, but it's like you wouldn't want to waste that money if you've already paid for it. So
It's expensive, isn't it?
I do kind of resent it because, yeah, obviously you could do it yourself, but I mean, I had 28 years or whatever of thinking like that and not doing it and not getting anywhere. Or you'll go for 3 weeks and then stop. And
it's so true though, isn't it? It's just like because it's like when I first went full time doing stand up, like because all I used to ever do when I was like working, was think, see if only I could use this time to write. Like this full time job that I've got, if I could just spend this 8 hours working on writing and all that, I'd be fucking amazing at stand up. And then obviously you finally get all that free time and
you realise that it was you that was the problem. I'll be in that boat.
but no, I don't know, and I think there's only certain things I want to do and stuff, but I'm contemplating getting a PT because it would be good for that accountability thing, and just obviously sometimes as well, like I used to really love going to conditioning classes and stuff because I feel like you do so much more than, see if you're just doing it in your cell and you're just kind of pottering about and looking at your phone for 5 minutes and fanning about and whatever, like I just feel like you get so much more done again with somebody watching over you.
I would go for that reason as well.
So you're not a gym guy?
Nah, I'm not a gym.
Another
Look at
time
me.
I've known
Neither
you,
am I.
Look at me.
But you just got to suck it up.
You're looking good though because of that.
Yeah, but I'm not actually a gym guy, man.
you've been
Well,
for you. Someone
I'm just
who's-
a guy that goes to the gym now against his will, basically.
No, you're not like a beefcake, Steve. You're not like a big muscle bound, like
Can I fucking fight or something? It's fighting talk.
in like SpongeBob where he goes to that wee beach and it's like all those muscly guys. You're not like one of those. That's my only point of reference for that muscly guy.
for the beach of a muscle guy.
Arnold Schwarzenegger's at home going, what do I need to do to fucking...
I actually read Arnold Schwarzenegger's book, like the one for like the 70s or something, and it's called something like Education of a Bodybuilder, and it's so interesting. Like he's like, I used to call them sissy squats, but then we found out if you do squats too big, it fucks your knees, and like there's other stuff, like there's all this kind of like routines that are obviously probably like out of date. And
So I'm reckoning with toxic masculinity about 40 years before it was fashionable.
and he's got like one paragraph, like his whole thing's about bodybuilding and shit, and there's like one paragraph that says, fat people don't like to hear this, but it's actually easy to lose weight. You just eat right and go to the gym. It's a lot harder to build muscle. And I'm like, fuck you, Arnie. Yeah, you're fucking talking to.
Fat phobic fuck.
I know.
It would take loads for him to get fat at this point, to be fair.
Yeah,
It
Arnie.
would be a hard shift.
Although they do say that if you build so much muscle, it easily turns to fat if you don't keep.
Does it?
Aye. But you, I know the time I've known you, I've never heard you once say I'm going to the gym today.
There was that,
But yeah, you're not like out of shape, I would say. No, but
there
no,
was that
no
period
extreme.
about 5 or 6 years ago where I lost a lot.
You got
of weight.
very thin. How did you do that?
It's easy, you just eat less, don't you?
Yeah, it's easy. It's easy
You
peasy.
read that paragraph of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
It's so easy, man. No, I was just running. I was cardio. I didn't go to the gym, but I just went to the local park, done sprints.
Hill sprints did you do, or
I
just
done
normal sprints?
some hill sprints some days. Aye,
The weight was mainly blood that he lost through his nips.
But why do I keep shaving before I give it?
But aye, that was I would do like I think 5 or 6 times a week. I would do like cardio one day, then like weights in my house the next day.
Yeah.
But I couldn't. I'm quite tight, so that's why I never went to the gym or got a PT or anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing no want to pay a PT, but no even want to sign up to a gym membership.
Off peak, I pay about £12 a month for my gym.
That's 12 quid. That's better off in my pocket. But no,
No
it's,
pocket a fucking Pepe's peri peri check.
I just because the gym, I don't really have one that near me, so it's just like I know I would never go.
Aye.
So I just would go to the park's my gym, guys.
The world's my gym.
World's my
I love
gym.
it when people say shit like that.
You ever been to one of those outdoor gyms?
Yeah, they're fucking shit.
They're so bad.
There was, no, really, but there was one, see, when I was in Australia, like, there was one round the corner for where I was staying in Perth, and it wasn't even like a gym, it was just, they had just sort of gym stuff outside, because it's obviously so hot and shit, so
Yeah.
I'd occasionally, just like when I was walking by, just do a couple of things, because nobody else about, but, aye, it's weird, isn't it, the old outside gym.
Basically a play park for adults.
But I tell you, I think sprints are really good actually, and obviously weightlifting, I think, for losing weight, which I'm trying to do at the moment, because I used to jog all the time, and but I'd always feel quite knackered and stuff, and then I read this book, and it was by a runner, a guy who used to be a runner, and he talked about how it's basically like chronic cardio and it can really fuck you and stuff like that. So now I don't run, but then see if I don't do the sprints or the gym as well, then I just do nothing.
That's
So it's
nothing,
like
yeah.
it's obviously better to do something
Yeah.
than nothing. But I'm like, I've not jogged for fucking years.
As I know, I've heard it's quite bad for you as well. Like we were saying, like I'm like that as well. I need motivation for me to do something. The motivation that I had when I lost weight was brought this lassie back, right? And
You're old enough now to get this.
she's old
You
enough.
cannon after dark here.
Okay, I'll talk you through the birds and the bees. Come on, Catherine, if you're listening, just turn that off, right? No, it was basically brought this lassie back after a Halloween.
Of course,
I
as
believe
we've
this never
established.
came up in the Halloween special.
No, it did, because that was, you'd said that you used to always pull on hat. It's like the only time you
That's
pull.
true.
That's right, yeah.
You took off your mask and she got a fright, did she?
Pretty much. No, it's like basically I had these wee set of dumbbells or whatever at the bottom of my bed, and she just laughed when she seen them.
What weight were they?
Well, I don't know if she was laughing at the weight. They were probably, I don't even know what the kilos are, like, I don't know, 10 kilos?
Right.
Is that good? I don't even
So
know.
what's she laughing at then?
She was just laughing the fact that I had them. She was like, you do not use those at all.
I was
Clearly.
picturing they were so puny that she's like,
No, they looked alright, but she was laughing at the fact that she didn't think I could even lift one up.
right.
And then I was
Did you do it to
I
prove it
proved
to
one.
that-
It was really hard because I hadn't done them in a while, so I was like, one of those ones, you know how like after you've done like 20 reps and it's like the final one, but that was my first
First one, yeah.
and it was, and I was like, there, I proved it to you.
Such a little in-betweeners.
And ever since that day, I was like, fuck this, I'm going to prove her wrong. I'm going to lose lots of weight and I'm going to win her. And I never won her.
I was hoping you'd be like, and that girl's name is Catherine.
That girl is No, it's not Catherine. This was before I knew Catherine. She's a feeder, Catherine.
Is she?
Ah, big time.
I always put on weight in a relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what is a relationship but just like eating together a lot?
Watching telly and eating Domino's.
telly
In it.
and
Yeah.
shang.
And she eats like, if we'll both get like a medium Domino's, she eats like 3 slices maximum and she's fucked. And then I'm eating hers as well.
But do you think she's doing this consciously or?
Because she's a feeder. The first thing when we first met, I was quite kind of skinnier, and she was like, "Oh, you're too skinny. You need to put on weight." So I think she's meaning to do it.
Wow. Oh my god!
Nah,
I didn't
it's
know it
nothing
was a targeted thing.
Nothing sinister. Obviously,
She knows that heart's fragile. She's got an eye on getting that house all to herself. So one of the main things I miss about having a girlfriend is just finishing all the dinners.
Yeah.
Shite going out on your own and just like, well, that's the end of my meal now.
There's no chips to pick off. Or whatever.
Yeah, that is the best part. Even like
Can you do that on a first date?
No.
Oh yeah, is that where you draw the line? How many dates in are you picking chips off the plate?
3.
Would that be a red flag for you if they done that to you on a first date?
Without asking, yeah. If they ask, that's fine.
Or do you think almost like see by them crossing over that that threshold, is that almost like a way of establishing some intimacy, and you might go, she's up for
The
it.
way she stole that meatball. Yeah. She's like, I just wanted the meatball, mate. I don't know.
Do you know the weird thing is, right? So I feel like I'm revealing quite a lot of psychological trauma in the last couple of weeks in this podcast,
I'm
right?
here for it.
But I do have this was the maddest thing that ever happened to me in the gym was well, I'll tell you this first actually, because this is a bit more light-hearted. So this last year, like I used to kind of know that way. It's like not even going out, but like sort of seeing for a bit when you're younger, and then she breaks your heart, and then you what all that,
She laughs at your dumbbells and she fucks off.
That's it. The
breaks your heart.
wee immature sort of relationship, right? So there's this last year, like I knew when I was in high school, or whatever, and then I'd not seen her in years, right? And actually, we used to kind of work together. And what had happened is once we kind of broke up, is that we'd pass each other in the hallway, and I'd always be kind of like still trying to like get her back and all that, and she'd pure just blank me in the hallways and stuff, right? Which to be honest, a bit harsh, right? But she obviously was just like, I can't be fucked this guy, right? So just it was cold, very very cold, I would say, right?
That's
So
like getting ghosted, but she's
real
there.
life.
She's also there.
Yeah. So
That's worse.
Like a literal ghost walking past you.
But then, like, we'd still be kind of out in the same places and, whatever. And, like, I was, like, that way, I just didn't handle it well. And, like, I was probably a bit of a dick, like, trying to get off with her pals and things like that and blah, blah, blah. And I just look back and I think I handled it dead badly. I think it taught me a lot of lessons that I've became more mature as a result of it in later years. But I've always been a bit like, if I ever bumped into her, I'd maybe like to just be like, oh, I hope you're doing all right. Sorry if I was ever like.
Is this your way of doing it right now?
Right.
No, I might even cut this out. But anyway, so point being is that I was in the gym, right, and it was the problem was it was like my first day back in ages, just getting back into it, as everybody else says. And I wasn't feeling great about myself, and then I see her and I'm like, oh, fuck. And I was just like, I'm just going to try and go on with my stuff and just concentrate and all that. But then I noticed like I was starting to fuck things up because literally the only time I've ever done this is like I was doing the bench and I put like the wrong weight on one side and then I'm like,
lopsided.
I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, oh my god, what a fucking fanny. And then she kept like kind of walking back and forth and like doing that exact same when I kept just trying to catch, just to be like, all right, even just to say hi, acknowledge, and that's it, right, in the gym obviously. And then she's kept walking back and forth, like, but walking by where I am and back to that bit without acknowledging me, looking at me at all. And I was just like, I was just going, this is so weird. And like, I felt so like.
Was she spotting you, do you think? Just in case.
No, she wasn't even behind the fucking bench. She was like walking back and forth in front of you. And then I was like, I should just like leave. And I thought, do you know what? I'm just going to be the bigger person here and just go over and just be like, all right, how you doing? I hope you're well. Just to cut it, just to live in myself, to say something, just because it's ridiculous. This is so silly. So eventually, I walk up the couch and go, right, just do it, just swallow my pride here, go over. And I went, all right. And then she looked up and it wasn't her. And I was like, oh my fucking god. I'm like, I'm so sorry if you're someone else.
You're seeing it everywhere.
But it's like that was Stuart in between us thing. But generally, I have never seen somebody who looked the exact same as them. And the last day turned out to be French. And I'm like, what are the fucking odds that this person looks the exact same in the same place that
maybe it was a sign. Maybe you should have fired in.
I probably should have actually. But the thing that was fucked up that happened to me in the gym, right, was when I used to go to when I
The
first
undercard done and dusted.
when I first started going to the PureGym, it was the one up in Hope Street I would go to because it was around the corner from my old work. And I used to go there at night a lot after gigs and stuff like that, and gig in the city centre. And I was there one night, hardly am in the gym. There was this guy that looked a wee bit, no the full shilling maybe, right? I'm getting
such a thing like your gran would say or
aye,
something
right,
like
I'm
that.
trying to be diplomatic about it, right? But I was surprised he was
Thick as pig shit.
I'm surprised he was allowed there in his own, shall we say, right? So anyway, I'm in the changing rooms. I get a shower now, I'm in changing rooms. And I'm just about to, obviously, Billy Bollocks. I'm just about to put my...
Naked as the day you're born.
Aye, I'm naked. I'm just about to put my boxers on. And then, out of nowhere, something just grabs my dick. I just get my dick grabbed. And like, no, that way, it's like such a weird... It was the last thing I'd ever expected. Totally came out of the blue. And seeing that split sort of second, like the weirdly instant reaction was kind of to laugh because like, see whenever like, I suppose that kind of harks back to like when you're a wee guy and like messing about in changing rooms with guys. No,
Slapping
like,
folks' balls.
slapping folks' balls with a towel or something like that. It's a good laugh in it, kissing arses, all that sort of shit.
Just normal stuff.
Just
you know what I mean?
horseplay.
But I just kind of, and then obviously like, in the 1 second it takes my brain to register what's actually happened, you go for kind of laughing and going, hang, what the fuck? Some random cunt has just done that to me?
I've been sexually assaulted.
Aye.
Yeah.
And I looked at him, and it was that guy. And so, like, I'm just looking at him, registering that basically somebody has just...
Is your cock still out at this point?
I think I got the boxes out. I just, like, got the boxes out. It was like, what? It was as I was bringing him up, he does it. So, like, and I just looked at him and I just went, what the fuck are you doing? And then I looked at him and, like, I could instantly see that he hadn't really been able to control what he was doing, and he looked dead scared. And I was like, "What the fuck?" And I just realised, like, oh, he's obviously like not being able to control. And like, yeah, he looked like a sort of guy that probably shouldn't have been at himself, maybe a carer or something like that. And I instantly just felt sorry for him. Then I was like, fuck. I was like, God's sake. And then, but I was still just pure in shock. And I'm like, no, I'm like, did I fucking hit this guy? What the fuck did I do? But as I was realising, I was like, basically, he's just like being like a fucking cat that's seen like some keys dangling around. Meow! Like, that's effectively what's probably going on in his brain. And he's not realised what he's done or why it was bad. And then, and fuck knows whatever impulses he's got in his head. But basically, we're there. But I still had to get changed, and so did he. So, and we're the only people in the change rooms. So after that happened, there was like a couple of minutes went by. Well, we're still just standing next to each other and nothing else is happening. And then, like, but at one point, see, when I was still getting changed, he actually, like, hid behind his, like, so he had his wee change room locker, like, there, and he sort of hid behind it. And then there was the wee gap in the door of the locker, and I could see him like looking through it, like feeling scared. I think he was shiting it. I was going to, because I think he's obviously for whatever reason made him do that. He's not been able to control his impulses.
An impulse, and then he's shat it.
And then he shat it because he's just like, oh my god, what the fuck's happened? And then so I was just like, what the fuck? And I just left. But it was weird because then I was like, I was pure dreading going back the next time and all that. Because every time since in change rooms, I've always been a bit like,
Wary.
I fucking look a bit, do you know what I mean? But it was such a strange...
Have you seen him since?
No, never again. But it was just such a strange thing because...
The fact there's only the two of you as well, and there's no witnesses, makes it way worse.
There's no witnesses, and it's so weird. And it's obviously like, it's a fucked up thing happened, but then obviously I'm like, well, he's clearly not got all his capacities, do you know what I mean? So I was like... I actually ended up
Might have just been French or something.
If only that had been the ex-girlfriend.
Different cultures, you know.
If only it had been her doing that time. But no, so it was just such a strange thing. But I was just like, fuck me, man. It was
fucking hell.
It was just and then I just had to go on and just live the rest of my life and just be like, so that happened.
That's just the thing that's happened.
Just the thing that's happened.
All me and Steve know is something weird happens every time Mark pulls his trousers down.
I did say to him, I was like, well, if you're going to do that, at least fucking give us a wee peck in the arse cheek,
yeah? You're alright now, though.
I'm alright now.
Checking your boys, you're alright.
But it's like, you know, you don't want to make a big deal about it because it's like, you know, it's probably nothing compared to what the average woman has went through multiple times in her life. But I suppose it is still a bit fucked. It just
still fucked up.
Still kind of just makes you go. it was like a weird reaction. Like, I've
But
not really
that's-
been back to that gym much since.
There's no guidebook for how to react to something like that.
No.
Yeah. And I guess the thing that you're saying there about like women have had that a lot, I guess their thinking is they probably couldn't defend themselves, but your first thought
Well,
was,
that's-
should
You
I
could have spat
bat-
this cunt out
Yeah,
straight away.
yeah,
and
absolutely. So it's like
A
it's not
worse
as if
man would have.
I was never in any danger in it, but still, you're getting
Right, it's still not a good
harassment
thing.
or assault or whatever the fuck it is. But like, it's just a weird fucking thing. But I was like,
Yeah.
I'm definitely keeping my wits about me in the changing rooms these days. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, big
I'm
time.
a shower at home guy.
Yeah. That's
Well, so am I now because I go to one that's nearer my house and I'll always just shower at home.
that's why I never went to the gym. I worked for the park. That's my excuse.
Famously, no sexual assaults have ever occurred in parks.
Safe in the park. Yeah, it's fucked, man. But I hope you're alright.
I am fine, thank you very much for your concern. I know, because it's now, like, it's a serious matter, but I can see the funny side in it, because if it's my
laugh.
experience, I've got to, I feel like I'm legitimately alright to laugh about that.
Aye, 100%. Because I think, I don't know if it was that day, but I think we were doing Yes Bar or
Because
something at
I
night.
literally was probably going to Yes Bar
Trying to
after
do
it.
it. Donna.
And I'm sure you said it on stage, like, what the fuck?
It just
You just
happened.
kind of processing it. I
Aye,
remember that. Because I guess that's just something you just want to get
You never
out there,
managed to get any material out of it, no?
No, I did do it in a fringe show, but it's because it's one of those ones that's such a weird thing to happen.
It's not
It's
relatable.
You
Yeah.
really need a good angle on it.
Because I thought you were going to say the thing about, was there not another thing about someone using the hairdryer?
So
I've
that's
seen loads
this
of
is
people
another
do that routine.
that's another mad thing that happened was because I did try and work this out to stand up because I thought it was an interesting metaphor, but basically I was in that same changing rooms and there was a bald guy using the hairdryer. He dry his socks and he was like rubbing the hairdryer against his socks, and I'm like,
That is heathen shit, isn't it?
That's horrible.
I'm literally looking at him like, I need to use that next, mate. It's like, you're fucking ruining it. Just because you don't need it for your head doesn't
Well,
mean
sorry, you've not got hair, but
you
some
can fucking ruin it for everybody else. But I used to think about how that was such like a good metaphor for like the Tories' attitude towards the NHS.
Yeah.
It's like, just because they don't need to use it doesn't mean they need to ruin it for the rest of us. There's a lot of fucked up things happening in that changing room.
Hope Street.
I suppose that's why you should probably pay a wee bit extra and go to a nicer gym than PureGym.
Is this a thing? Like, I always try to work out this metaphor for like the NHS as well. Like, it's not a metaphor, like an allegory.
Do you guys know that Mock the Week's gone? It's like, you're not gonna...
What?
But it's basically, I don't even know if it really computes, but it's like, when I was a wee guy, I bought my mate a football from holiday, right? I bought him this wee football, and we were playing with it, and I accidentally kicked it over a fence into like a quarry. But it was his present that I'd bought him, so he made me buy him a new one. Even though it was a gift in the first place that I gave him, he still made me buy him a new one. And I think that's pretty fucked, innit? It's like, I think that's like, I don't know how it connects to the NHS.
That's
here.
more what I'm wondering.
I think it was like,
Right now, this Venn diagram's 2 circles.
there's 2 circles here. I think the angle I was going for is you can't really complain about the NHS because it's free. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like people who complain about it because it's free. It's a wee bit like that. I don't even know if
Pretty
it's
sure last week we were slagging off GPs, the 3 of us.
Aye,
Well, I mean, the selling argument for that, but I mean, technically it does get paid through tax.
taxes, but come on, it's pretty much free on it.
I don't know if that would be quite a convincing argument about how the NHS handled COVID if they went out and goes, look, right, we bought this ball when we on it.
gave it to somebody. They kicked it
over
over
the
a
corner.
fence.
Minimum one of the Tories would be, the grumpy neighbour sticking the knife through the ball or something. So there's something else you can do with it.
But in general, though, like NHS aside or whatever, do you not think that's mental? Getting someone to buy you a new.
Yeah, that's insane. But had you already told them that you'd got him this present?
I had given him it, so
Let's say you hadn't bought the ball if it was his ball, and it was his ball, right?
because I'd given him it as a present.
Yeah, let's forget about that for a second. Like, if
Yeah.
it was just his normal ball and
Yeah.
you punted over, would you offer to buy it?
Yeah.
I think this is a tricky one.
see
actually.
when
I'd be
the ball-
aggrieved about it, don't get me wrong.
so you kicked the ball into the quarry,
I kicked over the fence, but I'd bought him the ball as a present.
and was this when you kicked over the quarry? Was that like the day that you gave him the ball?
Yeah.
It's not a great present, is it?
I didn't say it was permanent.
It was an accident. I didn't obviously pick up and go, here's a present and punch
So
it
basically,
over
you
the
let
head.
him play with a ball you'd bought for a limited period of time.
I'd bought 3 balls.
You let him look at a ball, basically.
So you'd bought 3 balls.
I'd
Right,
bought one
this changes
for-
it.
That does change
Hold on, I bought one for me, one for him, and one for my
I'm
other
now
mate.
picturing Steve returning from holiday with a big net of balls, like football training. 40 miters.
It's like the fucking kit man.
I was in Spain, so it was like ones with crests on it. I kept the Valencia one, gave him Barca, and gave the other mate Madrid. We played with the Barca one.
Why did
Right.
you take the shite one for yourself?
I like the colours.
Valencia were good at us at one point.
Yeah, they had a good team.
So I gave him that. We've decided to play with his ball. I accidentally kicked it over the fence. I didn't want to give him my ball that I'd got for myself because it was mine. But so he was like, "Well, buy me a new one, and then you can keep your ball."
Would he have been happy taking Valencia?
Probably.
Here's my question. I'm
I
surprised you
think that's
didn't
the
do
solution.
this. Did you not go back? Would you ever have thought of going to the other pal who got one of the balls and ask him to give it to the guy?
Well, because I'd already. I think
I
that's.
don't see why he should be roped into it.
I think
No,
that's.
but that's the sort of thing I can imagine Steve
No,
doing.
I think that's how we came to the solution. Like, I just kind of, before I gave this ball to my other mate, gave him that. So the other mate didn't get a ball at all.
So you never bought another ball then?
He was saying,
I'm
you need to
confused
buy
now.
me a new ball. So
Right.
he was wanting it. And my way out of was doing that.
Did he have many footballs, this kid? Was that his only football?
He had other balls.
Yeah, then he doesn't need the...
He doesn't need
It's
other-
not like, that was my only ball.
Would you buy someone a new ball?
It's not something I've been asked for 16 years.
If you, that same
That
situation.
exact situation. How old am I?
12, 10,
So
12.
I was 12.
12-year-old
So it was
boys
12.
are
Tight.
tight. They've got no money.
Tight.
My bank account at 12 was not anything to write home about.
You wouldn't
Oh,
have
so
a
like
PT
I
at
had
12.
There was no like,
Didn't have a PT. Didn't even barely do PE, to be honest.
there was no obligation for me to buy him a present as well, was there? That was a nice thing to do.
No, it's a moral quandary because
Yeah.
This philosophical section came earlier.
In short, though, you've just lost his ball.
I bought him the ball.
Because the thing is, though, see, getting a ball and then having it taken away in that way, that is worse than having no ball at all.
Do you think? I
Aye.
think it's better to have a ball than have no ball at all.
No, it's not. It's the same way why...
We're not
it's
far from saying, like, don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened.
No, that is what it is.
Better to have
Because I
balls.
remember one time, like I was seeing this lassie that I felt was a wee bit out of my league, and then she kind of broke it off with me, and I was pure gutted, and I was like, why did I even get that experience in the first place? I'd have preferred to have just not even thought that I could dare to dream and just been. I was happy before I thought I could get, with somebody like her, and then she's broke my heart. Now I'm worse off. And it also reminds me of the time when I think, have we spoken about this in this one before? But it was the time when I'd went to that cash machine just round for Yes Bar, and it was Glasgow City Centre, and it was like a Saturday night or something, and I went to the cash line, and whoever had been there before me had just left all this money.
It
In
was
the
like
thing.
200
It
quid.
was like 200 quid or something, right? Which at the time was like fucking most amount of money I'd ever seen. And so I just waited about for it. I took it, I just waited about for a minute to see if anyone came back. There's a queue behind me, and I'm like, well, fuck it. Like, if no one else is taking it, I just took it. So I just put it in my pocket and went round the
You do
corner.
realise that after like 10 seconds,
Yeah,
it
you
would
get
just
sucked back in,
suck
wouldn't
it
it?
back in.
Does it?
And
Aye.
would it go back in their account as well?
Yeah.
I did not know that actually. Sorry then. But
You're a thief.
who would actually...
First the cookie and the crisps, now this, Jennings.
well, who...
That's why she left
But
you. She's a common thief.
Who would do that though? To just like get and then just not take it? I take it they must have been steaming or something, right? But anyway, I was like, look, if I don't take this, I never knew about that. So I was like, if I don't take this, somebody behind me is, and who knows? So I thought, well, fucking finders keepers. So I just took it and I put it in my pocket. But I remember not putting my wallet because I think I didn't want to have all that cash out in the middle of the street. Like, so I just put it in my pocket quickly. And then I went and I was pure top of the world. I bought a fucking round bit. And then the next time I went to go back to the bar, I'm like, and it had gone, and it must have all fell out my pocket, and I was just like, why has God done this to me?
I'm the most unlucky man on earth.
It was like they get it and then they take it away. I was like, what the fuck, man? But that's very that's probably a similar feeling to your man with the ball.
Nah, well, so you're of the opinion that it's not better to have loved and lost than better to have loved at all.
I'm not saying it's not better. I'm just saying it definitely hurts
But you get that.
But actually, what it
I
does
gave
is,
him 15 minutes of pleasure playing football. And then I took it away
well,
from
that's probably why that lassie left me as well. But but actually, it does teach you a lesson, because see, with that money thing, it taught me, well, you know what? See, it was like instant karma basically, because I was like, well, I didn't deserve to have that anyway.
Yeah.
So I suppose, easy come, easy go, but
Yeah.
and I suppose it's probably the same with that ball and with love.
I'm trying to remember, because obviously, we'd all be playing football all the time. Everyone's kind of bringing the ball periodically. Oh, that was my ball. Everyone's arguing about, people losing each other's. But I can't actually remember if I was buying people balls when I lost them and vice versa. I feel like it was a bit of a sort of
communal thing.
Yeah, it was a communal thing.
aye.
You just hope, it was like karmic. You hope it would balance out over a year.
Yeah, probably did. So you wouldn't even buy someone a ball that you didn't even gift them, if you.
No, I'm trying to remember. I can't remember.
You'd always sort of.
My shooting's pretty accurate.
You'd have a kind of understand. You'd have a kind of understanding that at some point you're going to lose your ball or it's going to burst.
Yeah.
Balls are temporary.
Yeah.
A ball's for Christmas. The opposite
How many
dogs.
more cliches can we put ball into?
I've got a good story actually about Valencia.
No,
I never went on a school trip. It might have even just been like the year before I got to high school. But basically my high school went on a trip to Valencia. So my big cousin went, like a lot of my mates' big brothers and stuff went, right? And this one guy who's like my mate's big brother, they went, and it was Valencia, like I think they were maybe like training with the team and stuff like that. It was it was like a football trip. And it was when Valencia, I think it was when Rafa Benitez was Valencia manager. I think they'd won the La Liga or whatever, so they were big at the time. And they all went to Valencia, and they would go to this place for pizza every night. And on like one of the last nights, my mate's big brother said to the guy who owns it, I'm like a youth prospect with Valencia, and they're going to sign me on Friday, and I want to hire this place out to have a big party.
Hold on, this is just your mate taking a piss.
He's my mate's big brother, and he's just taking the piss, kidding. So he's kidding on that he's going to be the next big superstar for Valencia, and that they're going to sign him, and he's going to have a big, party to celebrate signing. But the day that he'd said was the day that they were leaving to go back to Scotland. So this guy was like, "Oh yes," and was like fawning all over him because he thought he was going to be some big superstar, and then they booked it the whole place, and then they just went home and
booked at a place.
I booked at the pizza place, and then it just never happened.
Fuck's sake.
So hold on, they booked it, but they were already away for when it was.
So the day that
they don't even get to see the spoils of the.
I can't even remember whether they seen this, like, if they went and seen it or no, or maybe they were still there when it happened. But I just remember that happening, and it was just like a pure prank, like on this guy. I could be getting some of the details wrong. If anyone listening was on the Valencia trip, then you might correct me. But I'm pretty sure that was along the lines of what happened, and it was
That's funny.
Just a funny concept. Like that was the sort of thing that happened a lot. Like people would do that a lot at our school, things like that. Just like mad pranks and
Schemes.
fucking. I just like the whole phoning a Chinese for somebody across the road, and then watching the guy go up and stupid stuff like that.
But then that's just a free Chinese for a guy, then, isn't it? Or would they need to take it back to the?
I'm not sure. It's just probably similar conundrum with the bottle one actually. If you buy somebody a Chinese and send it to us that have not ordered, do you need to buy them another one?
Have you? So that was a school trip, did you
It was
say?
a school trip.
Did you ever go on like school trips to abroad?
I don't think I ever went abroad. There was options like to do stuff like that, but I could just never be asked. I went on all the pishy wee school trips.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever
Lock
crossed the
Goyle
border
heads,
even.
Yeah.
Into the Coca-Cola factory in East Kilbride.
Did you?
That was a shit day out.
Is that like Willy Wonka's?
Watched the video we could have watched at the school. Just watching loads of people on minimum wage drive forklifts and stuff. Be like, this is it, kids. This is what's coming. I can't even remember where else we went. Aquarium, St Andrews.
Aye.
That's right.
Just remember Alton Towers, probably a couple of mad things like that. My mate, like there was skiing trips to Austria and France I never went on.
No.
Never went to the skiing ones. I went to Salou.
Did you?
With the school, yeah.
Where
All
did you stay
inclusive.
there?
Not all inclusive. No.
That's when I went to Salou, I went all inclusive. But I guess you're not doing that with like 60 kids.
Yeah, when
No.
you're in
There's no 13 or
Fab sheer
17s.
fucking bedlam.
we're like first year, I think, first year we went. It's mental actually, just taking like literally 12, 13-year-olds on holiday with
Yeah.
like just random teachers and shit.
Why do teachers want to do that? That's my
It's
question.
insane.
It's just probably like cultural outreach program. Let's take these Clydebank High youngsters and send them to a place they'll never see. What did you actually do when you were there?
Went to the new camp. Went to Portaventura. Is it the theme park?
Yeah,
Obviously learned a
brilliant.
lot.
Yeah, learned a bit of Spanish. Mostly just played about in the pool and stuff.
So
like
there's
that.
no actual cultural.
No, I went to the beach and stuff.
I always want to know, like, see the teachers that book this and they need to like sign it off with a Haiti or whatever. Like, what are they saying in that
Aye.
meeting?
Yeah.
Like,
They're
I do just want
lobbying
to take a
hard.
bunch of kids on holiday with me.
Creepy.
Aye.
Sounds creepy. It's either that or they're wanting to shag one of the other teachers going in
I
it.
feel like that's probably they probably want the holiday as well. Do you know what I mean?
Aye, but no way a bunch of wins. Are they getting it for free,
Probably
do you
getting
think?
it for free, innit?
Aye,
It's
exactly.
a
You
jolly,
learn
innit?
that growing up, don't you? And then you realise, oh, so many things were just because somebody wanted to fuck someone else. And you're just like, you're caught up in some
Including
fucking
my
scheme.
entire existence.
No, it was like the first day a mad guy fell asleep on the beach and got like sunstroke and had to stay indoors the rest of the week.
That's a rite of passage, that getting sunstroke on day one in Spain as a Scottish guy.
But then as a teacher there, you must be like, I'm fucked this. I've completely
Yeah.
messed this up.
There's bound to always be one that does something like that, and then just it's a good warning sign for the rest to keep the heat a wee bit in it.
Aye, it's a good laugh though. But a wee deck of porn cards. That's a rite of passage.
I remember when we were on holiday once and we had them, and it's like, but it's funny because you're just playing cards as if they're just normal, like you're
Yeah.
ignoring all the explicit graphic
Playing
images on them.
Scabby Queen with fucking some lassie with a pool cue up her fanny. That was one of the ones that was
That's,
burnt in my head.
That's more graphic than I expected for a bunch of 12-year-olds.
That's literally what like is burnt into my memory because it was like one of the first times.
Did you have
I'd
them in
seen
your
it.
bedroom when you brought that lassie back as well?
No, because I was so ashamed of it. I had it under the mattress. So that's a wee treat for the cleaner. She
Oh, you didn't take it home.
in the hotel. No, I never took it home. No,
That's funny.
we all
You
chipped
could have
in.
given it instead of the ball as a peace offering.
We all chipped in for it. It was like €1 each or whatever the fucking
Such
thing
a wee
was.
guy thing. I love that.
Yeah, 3 people. We
Great.
owned a set of porn
Brilliant.
playing cards.
How
It's
often
like me and my
do you
pals
think-
with our DVD case of the porn.
Aye, aye.
We're all part owners, like a little business.
But like, imagine the guy, whoever owned the shop, selling that to a bunch of wee guys.
So different.
They're
now,
not getting a
innit?
fuck.
Okay.
They're just wanting the €3, aren't they?
Yeah.
Aye, and the price.
Euro trash.
I mind that. That was good.
I don't actually remember that. I just remember people saying it. I'd never seen it then.
Did you know?
No, I don't think so.
I was more of a 6 Extra guy if we're getting into
I like that. Big fan of that.
free view for
On
me.
the dodgy box, you can get into
Yeah.
the fucking the cable channels.
Very eye opening.
Yeah, that was. And you've got your 10-minute free view on all the channels.
It is wild. Like, see when you think of how you went from that was the option to, I know I've spoken about this before,
To literally
to
everything
literally
you could
everything
ever even imagine.
conceivable. It's mad,
Yeah.
innit? It used to 10-minute preview on like fucking channel 901 or whatever the fuck.
10 minutes of heaven. Been waiting 6 years for this 10 minutes.
Not even as long as that guy got with that ball. We've had a few people messaging us with questions, which is always dead welcome, and please do that either by DM or just by email at somelaughpod@gmail.com. But a couple of people have got in touch, so we're going to answer some of these questions. First one is a bit of a standard classic, is the hypothetical dinner date, and the option that they've gave us is to select 3 people that are dead and 3 alive for your ideal dinner date.
Yeah, I always remember answering these questions at like, you know, in school. Like, I don't know the setting.
And Salou.
In Salou.
Put in a fucking porno cards.
I don't know what the setting was, but it was always
The girl
like,
with the pool cue, alive, and Pol Pot. That'll do.
yeah. No, it was like a guy would come in. I think it was like getting ready for uni or whatever. It was like UCAS. You know how they would kind of train you for uni or something, and then
Yeah,
they would
you
ask
got
you these kind
points,
of
didn't you?
questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I always remember that, and then they would always be like, you know, get people involved, like Donald Trump, and like this was before he was like president.
Yeah, when
obviously.
he was just like
just
a
like a
businessman.
billionaire kind of guy.
Yeah.
So you just use those answers, but like truthfully, it would probably be like
you're not getting into St Andrews if you just name 5 Rangers players.
exactly. Yeah. Back then, it would have been that way. Like Michael Moles,
Marvin Andrews.
Kanigia,
Shota Valadze and
Marvin Andrews. Come on.
he lived near my school, Marvin Andrews.
Ugo Egiog.
We used to always invite him on, because a few of us had him as a pal on Facebook. We'd always invite him to every like party at school in the hope that he'd come. Never did.
I got his Snapchat like a few years ago,
Aye.
and just on a night out, just send him wee pictures and that. And he'd always send one back, go and have a great day.
Oh, brilliant.
Brilliant,
Big
guy.
Marv.
Aye.
Some boy.
See, when I was in school, I'd done a work placement at the Daily Record sports desk. So I got to do some quite cool stuff, right? And on like the Wednesday or something, we went to Hampden for the launch of this book called God's Never Offside. And it was like it was like all these people involved in Scottish football that were like religious. So like Mike McCurry, like the referee, and then obviously Marvin Andrews, and then like some other people. And Marvin Andrews was like a big press conference for it at Hampden, like the book launch. And Marvin Andrews turned up, and at the time he was injured and shit. He had these cruciate ligament done, and he was refusing to get surgery on it.
Yeah.
And he said, God will heal me and all this shit. So all the
Is
journalists...
he like a Christian Scientist or something? Is it like a...
Oh, he's a born again
big
Christian,
Christian.
so like I guess like he obviously just believed God could heal him or whatever, and he was still playing through this. I don't know what the script was about if it ever came out, but he was still playing, and he was
Hard to imagine a God would send you to Wraith Rovers, isn't it?
Aye, this was when he was still in God's graces, when he was like going for the title with Rangers and it, right? But he turned up and he had I always remember because he had a cap on that said Jesus is my boss, which was untrue because at the time it was actually Alex McLeish, but it was just so mad, man, because but everybody was like fascinated because he was literally like performing miracles by playing football every week.
That's right.
But probably inside, he was just screaming with pain.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Absolute-
He's got to have been getting some injections or some
Aye.
shit. There's got to be something that was happening there.
Yeah.
You need whoever came up with that God's Never Offside metaphor to help you with that NHS football one. For sure. I love seeing them on churches where it'll be like they're really bad with metaphors. There's a couple of churches in my hometown now. I love stopping to read them, and they'll be like, it'll be like a bunker on a golf course, and it'll be like, if life's got you bunkered, let God drive. And it'll be a picture of a driver, like, for starters, you know, you're not using a driver in a bunker. I mean, anyone that even flirted with golf would know
Use a
that.
sandwich.
And like they try and capitalise on whatever's like in the zeitgeist to let them do like a really shit rhyme. Love it.
God is an NFT. God passed the vibe check.
Yeah, so the
God is goated.
God is low key goated when inventing the planet. Is the vibe.
the hypothetical dinner.
Aye, so hypothetical dinner. So 3 people dead, 3
Well,
people
Marvin
alive.
Andrews walks in.
Easy peasy.
I've never heard it phrased like that before. 3 dead, 3 alive.
It's good though. It's good to have the limitations.
Who's your favourite DDs, Steve?
Well, I'll go alive first, so I'll go Alex Turner, John Mulaney, and Rory Scovel. Nah, well, Billy Connolly, fuck it, I'll put in Billy.
Aye, good.
Who are you going?
Come back to me. I don't know. I've not thought about this.
If I taken your Alex Turner answer, would that have been yours?
Aye,
I'd go to that dinner party. Sure.
I
I'll
can
just
go
go with
in.
yours.
Yeah, fuck it.
Hinky or deed people. I'll give you my deed people and go back with alive. Deed people, I'm going to say Tupac.
Oh, aye, good shout.
Although he
Find
could
out how he
potentially
died.
be in the alive category.
Keep a seat in the middle, Neil.
Tupac, Bill Hicks, and anybody in the human race ever that's died.
a big ask,
Jesus,
innit?
knocking on. I mean, it needs to be real. If he was real, it'd be interesting to meet him.
I'd probably have John Lennon,
Yeah, Lennon's a good shout, actually.
Martin Luther King, because they'd get on as well.
Aye.
What would you say to these cunts?
I wouldn't be speaking much at this dinner party. I don't
Yeah.
think.
But I think this is the problem with these like theoretical dinner table, because the thing is, it's like we all know if you've ever been in an open spot in a green room full of comedians you admire, you just feel like a wee fanny.
Yeah.
And like that's if you're like
No, this is like the perfect setup to feel like a wee dick in your own house.
exactly. You never feel more out of place than just
Yeah.
serving Elvis dinner and shit.
Yeah, fucking Elvis.
I think Elvis.
Oh,
actually.
Elvis. Yeah.
Lennon, you've got Lennon, so I can't do him, but maybe I'll do Elvis. So who did I say? Tupac, Bill Hicks, and Elvis. Alive. to you boys.
No,
No,
Just a podcast.
I come back to me in live. You get deed cunts, Stuart.
thing is, I'm actually not very interested in history. That makes me sound like the biggest, fucking most ignorant person on earth.
Same.
I'm trying to think who had been around at really interesting times. Because you'd be like, I wonder what fucking Genghis Khan would be like. I know he's a bad guy, but he's bringing nuisance value minimum.
Absolutely.
Genghis.
I think my three would be, my six, I guess, would be Tupac, Bill Hicks, Elvis, and then the three Haim sisters.
You think you're in me a chance, do you?
Go ahead, hey,
We could get the Bee Gees back together. One alive, two dead.
sit across each other.
Or the Beatles, even, if you're going for John Lennon.
That's true. Yeah, I've already got Lennon, so it's a bit like Monopoly. You want to get like the four.
Get Paul McCartney.
Would you get Paul?
You get more for it. Yeah, get Paul, Ringo, Lennon, Harrison, and then that's me. That's me. Got one more pick on each. So and Genghis Khan and I don't know, like Stacey Dooley or someone that will interview them. You know, Lou Theroux.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
Stevie.
So my dead people, I don't know, I can't remember who's dead. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't even...
my sister got confused one time and asked me, she went, is Vera Lynn still dead? This was when she was alive, by the way.
Because, I mean, there was like people like Robin Williams, he would be good.
Yeah.
That's a good shout.
Norm Macdonald, I was
What
thinking
version's rocking up, though? I don't want him doing bits all night.
about. No, Robin Williams would
Let's
be
all
too much.
fucking chill out.
Let's be honest, well, sad he's not running.
Always
It'd be
on.
Too much at a fucking party.
No, I think it'd be a good value, Robin Williams. It might be a bit depressed.
I'd want a hard curfew in my house for Robin Williams.
What about Robin Williams, but he's dressed like Mrs. Doubtfire?
Like he's rushing between the kitchen and
He's
the...
making the tea.
Yeah. Tits are on fire, your tits are bleeding. It's all going wrong.
I'll go Robin Williams, I'll go
Robbie Williams as well.
Robbie Williams, he's in there. Nah, fuck
We
Robin.
don't know if they ever
Big
met.
shout.
I honestly can't think of any dead people.
I've technically not really got a live band. We wouldn't actually have the Haim sisters. I don't even listen to one of the songs. I just knew they were three lasses. Alive people, I mean, honestly, Conley would be up there for me. I'd love to meet him
Nah.
just to say thanks and ask if he remembered my granda or whether the story was completely made up.
Bet he gets folk asking about folks' granddads all the time.
Imagine how mental that would be, like, because now that way you do get, what, if you're Scottish famous and apparently everybody else, kids on like your cousin or they went to school with you. Imagine that, but like when you're like 80 and people are like, my granda went to school with you. Like,
Did he really?
I would get Diana and ask her what happened.
she might not know.
True. Wasted guess then.
That's
And you just got to
Tupac.
make polite small talk the rest of the night. You've ruined the vibe.
Yeah, fuck.
Right, so did people have got Tupac, Bill Hicks, and Elvis, right?
Well, I'll go bigger then if you've got Tupac.
yeah, you get big 8 years. Like East Coast, West Coast beef.
I should probably get a woman in my party because it's
It's a bit, yeah.
It's a bit of sausage fest, isn't it?
yeah, this is a bunch of dead old guys.
You don't need a booking policy for a dinner party at your house, though.
No. Jennifer Aniston, I wouldn't mind meeting.
Oh, aye,
Oh, aye. What's that?
I would say.
Ask her about friends.
Aye.
lovely jubbly.
She's lovely. And yeah, I'm trying to think who I really fancy that I follow on Instagram that's like super famous.
Why don't you go for someone who's got a good mind, Mark?
I was going to put someone I fancy, but I thought that's worse than having no women.
Oh, so like,
I'm
what
just getting
chance
the
have you got with your fucking competition at that party?
Yeah, Aubrey Plaza's going home with Genghis Khan. I think.
Hey, I'm not gonna out charisma fucking Elvis.
Bring Elvis back and see if you can make enough food to kill him again in the toilet.
That would be an awkward hypothetical guess that your dinner party Elvis. And he goes, "Can I just use the toilet?" I was like,
Don't know about that.
Do you not know what happened to you?
Is it because he ate too much food? Did he have a heart attack?
I think he was on a lot of drugs at the time as well.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think
The boy wasn't looking after himself.
I've not watched.
He
the
didn't have a
film yet.
personal trainer.
the film's. I loved the film,
I've
by the way.
heard it.
I've heard it's good, yeah.
Baz Luhrmann is a mad bastard. Like, it's a mad way to tell the story
That
of
sounds
Elvis.
like a menchie. That sounds like something to be written on a wall.
That's what I like about him. Have you ever heard that? Because apparently it's not even him, but I don't know whether he wrote it or something. But have you ever heard that song, Everybody's Free to Wear Sunscreen? And it's like, just I used to have that in my iPod. And it
Boy
was
on
by-
Steve's holiday, hadn't heard that.
Aye, you're
That's it.
telling me.
about Baz Luhrmann, but it's like just like I kind of think it's like a wee tune and it gives you a little wee advice. It's like, live in New York City once, but leave before it makes you too cold. Live in LA once, but leave before it makes you too soft.
What is this song?
Stuff. It's
Baz Luhrmann's song.
Yeah, but I don't know whether he wrote it and somebody else is saying it. I don't know why he's associated with it or he produced it or something. But
Is it from a musical or something?
I maybe feel like a film or something. I'm not sure, but it's cool. It's a cool wee like motivational thing a wee bit. It's quite classy to listen to it sometimes. It's good.
Cool.
Here's my last dinner party guest,
Oh, aye.
Steve Coogan.
Good shout.
I'd like to meet Coogan. And did we not say on this podcast when we very started, right at the very beginning, that our friends did meet Coogan?
I met him.
Yeah, you met him.
I met him and I said,
Did you invite him to your house for a party?
and he said, "Please leave me alone." no, because I just said I was like they were at the bars. I was leaving, and I like just as I was passing, I just went, "Oh, guys, like big fan, love the show. Thanks for writing all the books and all that. Enjoy your night." And then they looked like relieved that was it. And I was like, "Thanks very much." And I was like, "I've done the right thing." And then once I left, Liam and that went and asked him for a picture, and apparently he was like, "Okay."
I feel like I'm gonna on the way home. I'll think of like amazing answers to this question because there's so
I know,
many weird, interesting people. People
we-
always say Obama, don't they? But like, what am I gonna say to Obama?
I'm not
Yeah.
fussed with Obama.
Don't really care.
I
Tiger
prefer-
Woods, I'd like to, but I feel like he'd be really boring though.
Yeah, but I guess if you
That's
just
right.
asked him
Tell me
about
about your
golf stuff,
shagging.
like, cause what you'd want to just know about all the behind the scenes, wouldn't
Yeah, any sportsman, I just feel like they're so dedicated to what they do that the personality generally doesn't
shite.
fucking
you?
stand
No,
up.
absolutely. It's like that with MD. It's like fucking obviously Michael Jordan, or even like now we like see like that Ronaldo interview that will have been a couple of weeks back now by the time this is out. But it's like he's obviously just had to pure dedicate his entire life to just being amazing at football. Obviously he's getting too old now and he's not good enough anymore. But like that's not going to help you develop a well-rounded personality.
No.
Is all I'll say. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a boring cunt.
Aye. Wouldn't have him at my party. Who'd you prefer to have at a party, Messi or Ronaldo?
Messi.
I don't really like either of them. To be honest.
Nah, I'm not really a big Messi fan.
I feel like Messi back in the day had more goodwill because Ronaldo was very preening and kind of
Aye.
he was like the sort of celebrity showy one, and Messi just went about his business. But Messi's become a lot more like that himself, I think.
Yeah, no.
But also Ronaldo's a beast, isn't he?
Yeah,
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Aye, Messi.
I would say Benzema.
He's a beast, isn't he?
Oh yeah, so he is. I would say Mbappe. He's not had time to become a beast yet.
Aye. Right, so just to recap then.
Mine is Alex Turner, John Mulaney, Billy Connolly. Dead People was Robin Williams, and Diana. And who was the other one? Brittany Murphy.
Brittany Murphy?
I don't know
that?
who was the other one. She was in 8 Mile.
What?
She was in the film 8 Mile.
You'd won her at your party?
Ah,
Who of anyone
Why, did you
ever?
fancy
She got pumped off Eminem in 8 Mile.
Is that why you'd want her there?
Nah.
Over.
Gonna try to get pumped off Beggy Smalls this time.
That
Oh,
was
Biggie Smalls fucks it.
actually because I was going to because I had one left. So mine's is obviously Deed Cunts, Bill Hicks, Tupac and Elvis allegedly, and allegedly all dead. And then I'd said Conley and somebody else, and then Conley, Jennifer Aniston, and
That was
it's between
Jerry
it's
Seinfeld,
between Eminem and Noel Gallagher.
Steve Coogan, I thought.
Oh, I did say Coogan, didn't I? Right, fuck Jennifer Aniston. You're out, Jen, sorry. And then it's between Noel and Eminem.
I feel like maybe it's just 'cause, like growing up, I was really into Oasis, so I've watched thousands of hours of interviews with Noel Gallagher, whereas I couldn't tell you a thing about Eminem.
This is why I'm thinking maybe go for Marshall.
Yeah, I think
Just
so.
to find out about him. Aye. And you can bring Haley as well.
I don't
She's
think
on all these things.
I don't think either of them would be particularly good guests.
Actually, Noel would be better. I'm going to go with Noel.
Yeah.
I'd love to meet
I think
Eminem.
he'd be decent value. I mean, he's basically an old fucking Tory now, but
Yeah.
No?
yeah, he's becoming a bit of a boring old man.
Yeah, he is, you know.
Because it used to be Liam
But I'm
was...
saying Noel in like 2000.
Yeah,
Liam used to be like the more of the cunt, and now they've kind of crossed paths, haven't they? Now Noel's more.
I
of
think
a cunt.
Liam's pretty much the exact same as he ever was.
But it
but-
seems like more sound now.
it depends what kind of mood you catch both of them in, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so.
For me, Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, Stacey Dooley, John Lennon, George Harrison, and Genghis Khan. Easy. Easy. And they want them to arrive in that order. Yeah.
I wonder, would see if it was like politicians.
I'm not feeding Genghis Khan, though. He can bring his own food.
No, because like it would be interesting to like just see if you could observe one between like if you could remake Yalta with fucking Hitler, Stalin, and fucking. Well, I don't think Hitler was but it's like imagine you get like Hitler, Stalin, Winston Churchill, Roosevelt in a room. Just see what happens.
See what happens.
Like, fight to the death.
Ah, the old days. What was that all about? Hey, come on. Serve them some new food. Like they've got smashed avocado. Hitler's trip. Like, what the fuck's
It's
this?
like on Sky Sports, and you see like guys that used to play for Man U and Liverpool, like,
Masters
chatting about the old
football.
days,
Masters War.
We've got a question about stand-up actually, and it says if someone in the crowd is heckling and another audience member tells them to shut it, is that helpful or equally annoying? Jump-ins or no jump-ins?
I like it when they jump in.
Yeah, I think it is quite helpful.
If someone says something, usually you're doing all right and it's fine, and then you just deal with it and move on. But there's always that part of you like, especially if you maybe going a bit too hard, you're like, is the audience with me here, or do I look like a dick?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to tell, but then if they're attacking the heckler, you're like, oh well, they're being a dick and I'm fine and it's all good.
Aye,
So it's nice to get that reassurance sometimes.
Yeah, because I think the audience has changed over the years. I don't know what it was like, obviously 20 years ago or whatever, but I've heard that the audience were a lot more, they're wanting blood and stuff.
Yeah.
I was doing...
I never know how much that's over-egged or if that's like...
Well...
I think maybe like just the concept of going to a stand-up show is like more familiar. So I think audiences know how to behave now and they're more willing to listen and stuff like that, whereas I think back in the day it all seems like more of the Wild West, doesn't it?
Yeah, because I've seen like clips of the old Late and Live stuff from the Fringe years ago and people getting bottles chucked at them and all that, like Russell Brand. A bottle chucked at him. The other week I was doing a gig and one of the acts wasn't doing well at all and he got heckled. Someone was like, oh, this is fucking shite, like get off or whatever, and like immediately the audience just started booing the heckler.
Oh really?
And even though they weren't laughing the whole time, it was their fault that he was dying, but they were on his side still. They started booing the heckler and telling
that's
the
rare
heckler
to see as well, because sometimes when somebody's doing badly and somebody pipes up, they're kind of speaking for the whole audience, and obviously as a comic you're never on the heckler's side, but you're kind of a bit like, sometimes you see acts that almost like are doing so badly and no acknowledging it, they're kind of bringing it out. Somebody's got to say something.
It's the elephant in the room.
It's kind of elephant in the room.
You can ignore it for a while and try and improve it, but at a certain point you got to call it.
And then it's worse when people go, oh well, and talk to the heckler like they're a cunt, because obviously you shouldn't heckle, but sometimes like the reason that they're getting heckled is because they've got something wrong about the place they're in, or they're just saying something that's fucked up or whatever, or just no funny.
Have you ever had any like actually written a heckler put down?
No, I've never read.
Seems really hammy to me to do.
But do you know what? See, to go back to the question, like one of the things you can say when that thing does happen, where they start, like when somebody heckles and then somebody else to the crowd, is you go, oh, the audience are heckling each other. Like that's you see that happen a lot.
There's stock lines like that, isn't there? Someone was telling me a story recently about a comedian who was like kind of just starting out and they were quite nervous and they were so apprehensive about getting heckled.
Yeah.
That they carried that on stage, and as soon as they went on, someone just coughed, and he just turned and went, "Shut the fuck up!" He snapped immediately.
That's funny.
There was one time when I was doing this gig. It was an unplayable gig. It was weirdly enough. It was actually in that Clutha bar. Obviously, the helicopter fell. It was like a few years after that, and it was like I think it was a fundraiser or something for that place. And I think it was kind of in their sort of beer garden that was sort of inside or whatever. But I was doing that as like a charity gig, and I think there's music on before us, so obviously always difficult because people are just going to talk through you when you go up and do comedy. So I was just doing it, and most people don't even really realise I'm on, and they're chatting away, and there's like a few people near the front that are kind of listening. And then at one point, this wee woman stands up, she's like, "Give me the mic, son." She took the mic, she went, "Shut the fuck up!" to like the whole crowd. And they had me back, and I was like, "Thanks, mum." Like, and I got a laugh, and then I kind of got through the set, but it was just like, it was a wee bit like, I probably shouldn't have. I should have been able to have dealt with that and not had to get this woman stand up.
Honours for an old woman.
I know, but I appreciated it. It was nice.
Yeah, but like the question is like, do you like that if people give you backup and stuff? And I think it is better like if they are like shut up. There is also a stage where I've been in a situation where people keep talking or heckling and someone's like, shut up, and then they keep doing it, and after a while,
and then
you're
they're
a bit
fucking
like,
arguing, basically.
yeah, they
And
start
that's hard
having
to
an
deal
argument.
with.
Yeah, because then you're
not in control of that at all.
you're not relevant anymore.
No,
It's
you're just
two
watching people have a fucking argument, and everyone else is looking at you.
Yeah.
Aye.
That's the tough part.
I mind this time, this guy, I was at Monkey Barrel a couple of years ago now, and I was doing the weekend, and there was this guy in, and he just kept going, Bonnie Rig! And I'm like, what, mate? He's like, Bonnie Rig! And I'm like, what about Bonnie Rig? And I would just like, keep trying to ask him stuff, and he'd go, Bonnie Rig! And I was like, what the fuck? And like, basically, like, I just had to deal with that. Honestly, for like the majority, I think I was only doing 10 minutes at the time, and like maybe 8 minutes was just that, me dealing with this guy, and that's all I'd get out of him. And I think he was just steaming. And then I was like, look, right, that's my time. See you later. I get off stage, and then like they chuck him out, right? And then they're like, go back on and do your. And I'm like, and I had to go back on. And I'm like, hang on, I've just done my fucking time. Mate. This is overtime now. And I'd fucking get through the minutes, and then I still had to go up and do it again. To be fair, it was a lovely gig when I went back up. I was just like,
yeah, you shouldn't have to go back up.
Did we ever learn why he was shouting Bonnie Rig? No.
He was for Bonnie Rig.
People are fucking obsessed with where they're from and stuff like that. Like, who gives a fuck?
I can't remember if I've told this on here before, but I was doing a gig and the fire alarm went off, and I was like on stage, and it was like at 15 minutes into my set. I was doing 20 minutes, and then like I had to go back on like after everyone came on for the extra 5 minutes, but it's just such a big delay, and like you
want your money, son. You need that fucking extra 5
minutes.
I never want to be going up twice.
No.
Unless I'm hosting.
No.
Yeah,
it's not fucking Wimbledon. It doesn't get rained off and then you come back on.
Because they were like, oh, you can just continue out in the car park if you fancy, or we'll just wait till we're back in.
What makes me laugh is their attitude is always like, they assume you want to do everything that you had planned. Whereas obviously what you actually want to do is just do your time and then go home.
Yeah, do as little as possible.
Yeah.
That did happen to me once, that I was doing this gig in Fife, and I think the fire alarm or something went off, and we went out. It was Adam Smith place, was that Kirkcaldy?
Yeah.
And it was Seymour Mace, who's this Newcastle based act, was on, and I think it must have been during his set or something, so everybody was out in the car park, and he just done the rest of the set there.
And was it good?
It was class. It was fucking brilliant.
He's the kind of act that can do that.
He is kind of act that would be able to do it. It was great fun.
I think my act would struggle in the car park.
Aye.
Yeah, I've done car park gigs before.
You always hear that, like, yeah, the fire alarm went off at the Fringe, so I took them out into the streets. But it's always like the madcap guys that do that.
Yeah, it's never. I know. I don't think. I just do. Imagine trying
it's
to do
like Stuart Lee, is it?
No, in the last 15 minutes, like heartfelt show about your fucking trauma or grief, and you're like,
you don't want your dad dying moment to be right when you get into the car park.
A Fiat Punto going past and heckling.
Yeah, fucking street performer running and get
some
fired.
cunt juggling fire behind you. Yeah.
I'm sure Lauren Patterson done it one time at the Fringe, and she said it was great.
I seen somebody do it this year. Like, I was walking down to Monkey Barrel, and there was somebody in the street, and I noticed a reviewer, like, who's the one that I would recognise, standing in this wee crowd, and I'm like, what the fuck was that? And apparently I think it was like the fire alarm or something had went off, and she'd just finished her show in the street, and apparently it was amazing.
Standing ovation at the end.
Well, aye. Just by
by default.
By default. The one thing I'd say about heckling is that, like, that's one of the main questions you get asked by people when they ask you about being a comedian.
It's very overrepresented in interviews and stuff like that.
Well, it is, because I think it happens surprisingly less often than you would think.
And the heckles aren't usually that. It's like you say, it's people chipping in, or like.
Aye, it's more you worry about it more when you start out. When you've got as much experience as we have, you know how to deal with it. I think the hardest one to deal with is just when somebody's that steaming. You can even have the best put down in the world, fucking off the top of the dome, brilliant, and then they still just don't know to shut up. And
it's usually funny once or twice, but then when it keeps going, you're just like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Aye, but it's never usually in that articulate. And actually, see, because you're reacting to it in the moment, it's like comparing. Like, you never really need to say anything that's that, like, hilarious if you're to analyse it. But see, in the moment, if you're just reacting to something and coming back with something, 9 times out of 10, that'll probably get a bigger laugh than some of your best jokes.
Aye, 100%.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that funny, but I had that recently I was doing a gig in Kirkcaldy, and I ended up having to say to them, I was hosting, I was looking forward to doing loads of local stuff and just fucking around, because I've done it before and enjoyed it in Kirkcaldy. But every single person I spoke to was just fucking mad. And like, and I was like trying my best. The mic wasn't fucking working for the first 5 minutes, so like we were saying earlier, you're off to a bad start. You already know it's going to be shit.
Aye.
It ended up actually being a fun night, but yeah, just like asking someone a question, and like then it was like there was only like 30 people there, so it ends up being like a town hall meeting where everyone's talking to each other, trying to get to the bottom of what this fucking woman's trying to tell me. That I'm like, am I fucking mad? I was like, does anyone follow what's happening here?
Yeah.
And then eventually I was like, listen, I go around the country, I say that I'm from Kirkcaldy, people take the piss. And I say, listen, it's good in Kirkcaldy, and then I come here and you're a mad bunch of fucking freaks, and I'm sick of this shit. We get to the bottom of this tonight. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's knock some heads together and get some coherent sentences going.
Nice.
It's this fucking steaming women that just like was like I can't even replicate what it was. It was just like sounds and stuff like that, and it was just all night, and just
I know
it just gets so tiresome quite quick.
it's funny. You do get defensive about like where you're saying all that, and then it's like, but you go back to it. There's a brilliant bit in that Jerry Seinfeld documentary, Comedian. And he's playing Long Island where he's from, and he says something like, and I think he had a hard one, and then he's going, you look out and you see everything that you tried to not be, but no, you still are. And I was like, that's so true. Like, when you're like gigging to like a wee bit close to home.
Yeah.
But as I say, mainly like it doesn't happen as often, but it's obviously if you're going to a comedy show, don't heckle, right? It's fucking.
Aye, don't be a dick.
It's like, people are there, they want to see the performer. Don't be a dick. It just ruins the show. And sometimes the odd wee thing when you're spoken to or whatever is fine. Do you know what I mean? A back and forth. This is the other thing I would say, because I remember going to a comedy gig in like my local when I maybe just started doing it before anybody knew, and I got spoken to by the compere, and I thought like, and it was with all my pals and that, so it was like pure, you don't want to get embarrassed, so I just wasn't like no answering, and that's. Don't do that. Like, just all I would say is like, see if you get spoke to at a comedy show is just normal. Just answer the questions normally. You don't need to try and be funny. Don't try and make up some
being
lies.
Funny is always shit. It's really cringy.
Just
so
be
forced.
honest, and then they'll no rip the arse out of you. I think like people have got that perception you're going to get, really torn into it. It doesn't often happen, but what happens is they'll just have a wee bit of gentle joshing with you, have a laugh, and move on.
I think it's getting worse though, because people of our generation doing stand-up have to put clips online, and to not burn material, people do loads of crowd work, heckler kind of videos, and that gives people a warped sense of how much that happens, I think.
Aye, and I'd put a few like hecklery videos, and I was sort of worried that when I'd done live shows that people would come along wanting that, but I've found they haven't really, like, so it's just one of the things. But I know it's changing. But as I say, it always surprises me that when you think theoretically that you've got a group of people there, you're just one person with a mic. It's really a lot of social ties are the only thing stopping it descending into chaos, and it doesn't. It's like, you know what I mean? You're like, I can't believe that people aren't just crashing into each other all the time in the roads. It's the same with a comedy club. It's like, I can't believe how well behaved the majority of crowds are.
Yeah. Especially if they're all steaming and coked up and shit like that.
I know, and they're fucking great.
Well, I'm in Newcastle this weekend. I'll get back to you on Monday. See if I still think this.
Speaking of which, so if you would like to, if you've been intrigued by this chat about stand-up comedy and live performance, and would like to see any of us there, well, me and Stuart anyway are doing the Glasgow Comedy Festival coming up in March. Tickets still available. Stuart, what date are you on again?
So I'm doing my last Fringe show, the Piche, at the Stand, Wednesday the 22nd of March. I think it's at 9. And then I'm doing a work in progress of a new show that Sunday, whatever that will be, the Sunday after it, at Van Winkle, smaller venue. That's called Horrible New Sound, work in progress.
That's a great name. My show is actually called Original Sound.
Yeah,
It's called Horrible New. So that's me fucked for my next title, for next year's show. But I'm doing my show, which I should say, if anyone came to see me at the Fringe, it's the same title, but it'll be like at least half the show will be brand new, and I'll be doing it at the King's Theatre on 24th of March. Tickets still available. Please come along and see that as well. And Steve, you're doing a Leicester.
I'm doing Leicester,
You're doing Leicester for some reason. Basically, it's a festival one at the exact same time as the Glasgow one that you've decided to do instead.
It's in the
doesn't want the Glaswegians to see everything that he thinks that he's got away from, but he still is. Leicester, you can be a mystery man.
Exactly. Leicester is where the people are at. Come and see me. I don't know if we've got any Leicester listeners, but if you're there, run along. Love to have you.
Sweet. Right, guys, well, I do that, and also, as ever, please give us a like and subscribe on YouTube, and if you're listening to this, give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You can follow us at SomewhatPod on Instagram, Twitter and TikTok, and you can email us if you'd like to send us any questions like the ones we've answered today. You can email us at somewhatpod@gmail.com. But until next time, guys, we'll speak to you soon.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
See ya.